Yeah, hello everybody, and welcome to another Kansas Missing and Unsolved podcast. I'm your host Ricky Tabregi, and joining me down there in Elkhart is Hope and Derek. How's everything going down there, Elkhart?
It's going pretty good.
Whew.
We just
Yeah,
had a nice little shower that came in and hit us. So,
yeah, we had some rain earlier today, and they're talking about a storm coming through after midnight. So, see what happens.
yeah,
I've been gone for years, but I've been in Kansas the last 3 Julys. This will be my third July here. Seems like it's rained a lot more than it did when I was younger. Like, are you guys getting a lot more rain than normal, Ricky?
I think this year we are. Seems like it.
Awesome, man. So, what's been going on this
Hanging
week,
around with the
Ricky?
lighting on my. No, much. Just keeping busy. I've been talking to Haley Davis's brother, and they're still doing the vigil, but they moved it from Oakdale Park to Sunset Park, and it's 8 o'clock on July 20th in Sunset Park. I have the link on Kansas Missing and on my Facebook, so if anybody wants to attend, they can click on the link on either Kansas Missing or my personal Facebook and let them know that they're planning on coming.
So I did see that on the page. What is the? How long ago did we cover her case? And I guess when was that updated to a located deceased?
Well, she hasn't been found yet, so
Oh, so because when you say vigil, I always think like that. I
no,
haven't
it's
paid
just
attention. So okay, so it's just like
get together.
to get everybody thinking about it. Okay.
Yeah, it's just to get together to say prayers and good vibes and share memories and that kind of thing while they continue to look for her.
Yeah.
So
Well, we're gonna go ahead and get into some cases. We got quite a few tonight. Ricky will go ahead and tell you about Jonas A. Summers.
is that my daughter?
I think so. It's fine though. You can barely
Grady.
hear it.
Sorry about that. That's my kid.
That's a good thing
The
American
pleasures
Idol's
of
watching.
Lord have mercy. Yeah, this is Jonas Summers, missing out of Tulsa, Oklahoma since July 23rd, 2019. He was 32 when he went missing. He's now 37. He's 6'1", 264 pounds, black hair and brown eyes. He has no vehicle and no active cell phone. He does have several tattoos. You can see some of them in the photos there. Again, he's 32 when he went missing. He's now 37, 6'1", weighs 264, has black hair and brown eyes. He is Native American. If you have any information regarding Jonas's disappearance or you know his whereabouts, please call the Tulsa, Oklahoma Police Department at 918-596-9222 and see if we can't get him located and back to where he needs to be.
How many years ago is 2009? 5 years?
Be 5 years this month.
Wow.
yep.
Trying
And
to
he's
get another
6'1",
picture of him as that
264. Like, this is like a big dude.
Yeah, he is a big guy. Yeah. Don sent me another picture of him, but it was too small for me to use. So I'm trying to get another version of it. Hopefully,
Ellen
working
Dotson's
on
in
it.
the room.
We'll see.
Esther Unruh, Chris Unruh is in the house.
Mhm.
Rodney Cox. You know, Rodney, where do you watch from? You watch every weekend. I think you've told us a couple times, but I'm dumb.
Yeah.
Where do you watch from, Rodney?
Thanks, sister. How are you?
Roxanne,
Roxanne,
Oklahoma,
I live in
and
Wichita.
Shanna from Wichita. Cool. Justice for Cynthia Renee Gonzalez is in the
Hi,
house.
guys.
Yeah.
That's Heather Berry.
Ricky, I sent you a link this week about a
Mhm.
girl that went missing from like the carnival in Garden City.
Right.
You said you have a flyer for that?
I believe I do. What do we say her name? God, I'm in such a hard
I'll look it up while you read the next flyer. But yeah, I was curious because that's a case that I had found maybe like, I don't know, 2012. I found that like on some archive, and I forgot to write it down. And I've been scratching my head thinking about what it was all these years, and I was able to locate it. So yeah, I'll look it up while you read Dana Jane Bruce's flyer.
Okay, I can do that. Let's see. Dana Jane Bruce is missing from Sedalia, Missouri since October 4th, 2008. She was 23 when she went missing. She's now 38. She's 5'2", 98 pounds. She has brown hair and green or hazel eyes. Dana was last seen at her children's babysitter's home in Sedalia. She had left the children there earlier that day so she could go out for the evening. She returned at midnight and gave the babysitter more money and asked her to watch the children for the rest of the night. Dana was seen at Malone's bar on Main Street with a young man driving a late model red Ford F-150 truck earlier on the night of her disappearance. She left with that man at 11:30 p.m. Police have identified the man Dana was with the night she vanished. He traveled to Atlanta, Georgia after her disappearance, and police questioned him about Dana after he was arrested there on unrelated charges of marijuana possession and driving on a suspended license. Authorities have not named him publicly, but they are calling him a person of interest in her case. He told his questioners that he and Dana parted ways after they left the bar, and he never saw her after that. She left all of her belongings behind, including her hairbrush and toothbrush. She does not have credit cards, debit cards, a checking account, cell phone, or a car. Again, at the time of her disappearance, she was 23. She'd now be 38. She's 5'2", weighs 98 pounds. She does have brown hair that was colored brown at the roots and black at the ends with red highlights and green or hazel eyes. She was last known to be wearing a black t-shirt with the word Rebel and silver lettering on the front and blue jeans. Dana has a tattoo of a teddy bear with wings and the name Dylan on her upper left arm. She is blind in her left eye. She does have a 2-inch scar along her lower spine and a staple scar on her right shoulder. Her ears are pierced 1 time each. If you have any information regarding Dana's disappearance or you know her whereabouts, please call the Sedalia, Missouri Police Department at 660-827-7823 or 660-826-8100, or the Missouri State Highway Patrol at 573-526-6178 or 866-362-6422, and see if we can't get Dana located and back home to her family where she needs to be. And I don't know if you guys are hearing all those fireworks in the background, but that's outside my apartment building where they're just having a heyday.
I think they might be popping some out front. I don't know. It's been wild here, man.
Yeah.
I just looked up Sedalia, Missouri, 21,000 people. That's I don't know, because like we're here in Elkhart where there's like they say there's like 22,000. I think 2,200. I think there's maybe like 1,500 on a good day. But like 21,000 is what like Liberal's got to be like around that size, right? Let me look it up. Liberal. I don't know why I always think about that. It just seems like the smaller the town. See, Liberal's pretty much right at that 19,000. Liberal's a pretty big town though. Consider like
it is.
Like somebody going missing in Elkhart is you're good. You're good. Somebody going missing in Elkhart, like everybody would know. There's only like 1,500 of us here basically, but 20,000. That's a lot of people.
And Ellen's saying Dana has a birthday coming up next Wednesday. So when we do the next show next Wednesday will be her 39th birthday.
Oh, wow.
Wow, 39th birthday.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
So she wouldn't even be 40 yet. Wow.
Yeah, let's see. Let's look at some of these other comments here. Judy Dunn's here. Hey, Judy.
Nice.
And Queenie Albini, how you doing? Here from Kansas City.
Nice.
Rodney says he's in Ottawa.
There's where Rodney is.
Scott Messerschmitt's from Emporia. Hey, Scott. Thank you guys for joining us, and be sure you guys are sharing this show out there with everybody so they can join us and help us get some of these people hopefully found and back where they need to be.
Get them home, yeah.
Absolutely.
I did make contact with our contact for Alexander's case. He moved pretty far away. I thought he was still in the area, so we're still going to talk soon, but he is in the process of moving like pretty far away. She said Queenie says Salina originally
Salina. Judy Dan's in Topeka. Cool. Everybody from everywhere.
Right. Ricky's gonna tell you about Alexander Perez.
All righty. He's missing from Ulysses, Kansas since December 1st, 2020. 35 when he went missing. He's now 38. He is 5'11", weighs 235 pounds, has black hair that he shaves nearly bald and brown eyes. He called a family member on the phone on December 1st and said he'd be coming over to do laundry. He never arrived at the family member's home in Ulysses. Alexander has not been heard from or seen by family or friends since then. He had been staying with family and friends prior to his disappearance. It was believed that he may still be in the local Ulysses area, or he may be in Garden City or surrounding areas. Again, at the time of his disappearance, Alex was 35. He's now 38. 5'11", 235 pounds, black hair that he shaves nearly bald, and brown eyes. He has a tattoo of a bumblebee on his face underneath his left eye. He has Perez tattooed on one of his arms. He has a tattoo of a cross on a chain across his chest. And if you have any information regarding Alexander's disappearance or you know his whereabouts, please call the Grant County, Kansas Sheriff's Office at 620-356-3500 or the Ulysses, Kansas Police Department at 620-356-4600 or the KBI at 785-296-4017 and see if we can't help get Alex located and back home to where he needs to be. And, we've discussed it on prior shows, but there was an arrest made in Alex's case in connection with this case, and it was a 44-year-old Oscar Corrales of Garden City arrested for second-degree murder connected into the death of AJ Perez. He was also arrested for racketeering, possession of methamphetamine with intent to distribute, possession of drug paraphernalia, and theft. The charges were based on an investigation by the Garden City Police Department and the Finney County Sheriff's Office. Corrales was arrested at the Finney County Jail where he was being held on unrelated charges. All suspects are presumed innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. So, keep that in mind too. But, see if we can't help get Alexander located and back home to his family.
Ulysses has 6,000 people. I mean, I go through Ulysses all the time. It doesn't seem that much bigger than Elkhart. I don't know where they're all hiding.
It is a little bit bigger than Elkhart. I mean, it don't look it, but it is. I mean, I get lost in Ulysses.
Really?
Yeah.
I'll have
There's
to check it
parts
out.
of Ulysses that I've never even been to, and I've been over there a lot.
Wow. I thought it was like, it doesn't look big at all. Like it must
No.
be like hidden, but it sounds like he went missing in Garden City based on the voicemail he left and, where they were digging out there and with the excavator. And they never did find like anything physical, right, Ricky? Like it was just basically they're operating on things that they've heard and they feel like they have enough to do what they're doing right now legally, but like from what I'm understanding, like there never was like any physical evidence found out there, was there?
Wow.
I don't think so.
I don't know. I know you guys could hear these fireworks going off.
It's the sound
Not
of freedom.
Too bad.
It's getting crazy up here.
Here we go. Let's talk about Dietrich Foster $5,000 reward.
Alrighty. Hopefully the fireworks don't keep drowning me out.
We can barely hear them, so as long as you can just read, we'll be good.
Okay, cool. Oh my goodness. Dietrich Foster is missing from Independence, Kansas since April 12, 2020. He was 37 when he went missing. He's now 41. He is 5'9", 190 pounds, black hair and brown eyes. He was reported missing on May 12, 2020, but it was last seen around April 12, 2020 in Independence. KBI agents and detectives from the Independence Police Department are conducting the case as a homicide based upon findings during the investigation into Dietrich's disappearance. Again, at the time of his disappearance, Dietrich was 37. He's now 41. He's 5'9", 190 pounds, black hair and brown eyes. He has a scar on his chest from heart surgery and a scar on the right side of his nose. He has the following tattoos: a cross on his right forearm, the astrological sign for Gemini on his right arm, 3 dice on his arm, the name Dejeuner on his arm, and the word Foo on his abdomen. If you have any information regarding Dietrich's disappearance, his whereabouts, please call the Independence, Kansas Police Department at 620-332-1700 or the KBI at 785-296-4017. And as you mentioned, there is a governor's reward of $5,000 for information leading to the arrest and conviction of those responsible for the disappearance and suspected murder of Dietrich Foster. So anybody has any information, no matter how tiny you think that information might be, get it called in because it could be a big piece of what they need.
Absolutely. I can't even imagine the families of the missing and the unsolved, and it's heartbreaking. And I just think if that was my family member, I would hope and pray that if anybody knew anything, even the smallest thing, that they would at least get it to the right people so that maybe they could bring him home, or at least let the family know, hey, stop looking because it's pointless. The family needs closure one way or another on it.
And one thing, interesting you say that, because like it's saying it to the right people, because I think people do talk about stuff like this, but they never say it to the right people. The connection I have with Dietrich, I'm talking to somebody who's very, 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 very much wants to know what's going on with Dietrich, and they've been filling me in. I've been pretty awful at keeping up with him with my move, but essentially, like, it's kind of like with a lot of these things, there is stuff being said, and it's actually being said in like comment sections of like
Right.
groups and stuff,
Right.
and that's just it's weird. Like,
Yeah.
that's not the place to do it. Go tell the
Well,
police.
you
You know,
know,
what I mean?
I understand you don't want to be directly involved. You don't want your name out there. But
Right.
just, telling friends or commenting in comments, in the comment section, that's not bringing
Right.
people home.
Right.
You've got to go to the cops. I'm not one for going to the cops, but when it comes to something like that,
Yeah.
it's important.
You have to. When it's
Yeah.
missing people, you have to do it. Travis Graham says, just letting y'all know, I would do another interview with Cake News on my sister at 11:30 on Friday.
Cool. That's Haley Davis's brother.
Okay, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah. We'll have to watch for the replay because I'll be at work at 11:30, but I'm because I work like 11 to 7 or 11 to 8, something like that. So
I was on Cake News like 2 months ago, but I never saw it because I don't have cable.
I haven't watched TV in over 10 years, so
Yeah. I do love like our local news stations when I do see their stuff online, but yeah, they interviewed me and I was just, they're like, it'll be on at 5. I was like, yeah, I don't have that. I wish I had it sometimes. Here we go. Cynthia Renee Gonzalez.
and my understanding is it's Annette Lawless is going to be interviewing him on Friday.
Really? I was telling Hope here because, like we just said, me and Hope don't watch TV, but I only know about Annette because of you, Ricky, and for kind of explain to Hope like Annette's involvement with missing and endangered people.
Yeah, she does the Missing in Kansas segments on Cake News twice a day. Once, I think it's at 6 in the morning and 5 at night, I believe, is how she's doing them. And she's been doing it for several years now. She's been on this show once. So hopefully we can have her back on again sometime soon. Would be cool.
that would be.
Casey Aguilar down here says, I saw you on Cake, Heavy D.
Nice. I'll sign an autograph next time you come over, Casey.
Cool. Hey. This one is Cynthia Renee Gonzalez. This is an unsolved homicide from Arlington, Texas. September 22nd, 1991. Cynthia Renee Gonzalez was reported missing to the Arlington, Texas Police Department. Cynthia's body was discovered in a creek bed off County Road 313 in Johnson County, Texas. It was later determined that Cynthia died from multiple gunshot wounds. Cynthia was reportedly at her apartment with her boyfriend when her husband stopped by to deliver their daughter for a weekend visit. Sometime later, Cynthia left for an appointment without her customary bodyguard, and she was never seen again. Serial killer Kenneth Allen McDuff was looked into in connection with Cynthia's death. Jim Ford, longtime Arlington police officer and renowned homicide investigator, had looked at McDuff in connection with Cynthia's case for going on 18 years. He was never able to make a match or a mismatch. McDuff was believed to have abducted McDuff was believed to have abducted a victim from a car wash in Austin, Texas. Cynthia's car, a 2-seat Pontiac Fiero, was seen parked at a car wash in Arlington the day she disappeared. There were similarities in the Austin case and Cynthia's case. He kidnapped, sexually assaulted, and killed his victim at a car wash in Austin. He dumped the bodies of several of his victims in rural areas. He killed several victims by shooting them. Investigators could not place McDuff in the Arlington area and could not determine whether he was out on the streets at that time, but could not find him as being incarcerated at that time either. Other persons of interest have come up and have been cleared as well. McDuff has since been ruled out by DNA testing. If you have any information regarding Cynthia's death, please call Sergeant. We have a new investigator on that. I'll have to get his name and change this. But call 817-459-5772. If you wish to remain anonymous and possibly receive a reward of up to $1,250, please call the Toronto County, Texas Crime Stoppers at 817-469-8477 and see if we can get some justice for Cynthia and her family.
Ricky, you and me have like waxed about this many times. I was going to ask Hope, like, Hope, what do you think is the main reason somebody would know about a crime and they would never say anything about it, even if we're talking like a $10,000 reward?
And it could be worried about
a lot of it. It would, I don't know. In my point of view, would be they don't want to be linked. They don't want to do time,
right,
or the information they have could lead to harm of them or their family.
Yeah.
Right. That's it. Yeah, I agree with that.
To
And
me,
sorry
I
about
think
me
the
getting all
mentality.
messed up during her flyer, but my daughter came in here and boy, she put on some heavy duty perfume and it messed me up. Man.
Cynthia's case is still being reviewed on no new updates. You can follow any updates on her Facebook page.
Okay.
Safford is his name. Detective Stafford.
I think that's what I have on the flyer, I believe, isn't
I did
it?
not see.
Let's see. Oh no, I have somebody about to change Blake Ritchie's name out to Stafford. Okay, I will fix that.
Kenneth Wrightcheck.
Yep. Go, Kenny. I have people ask me all the time, either in the comments here on the show or at work or when I'm out and about, people will stop me and ask me if I've heard anything new. But unfortunately, I haven't. Kenny Wrightcheck's missing from here in Salina since November 4th, 2019. He was 69 when he went missing. He's now 74. He's 5'9", 175 pounds, gray hair and blue eyes. He does sometimes use the last name Brown. He does suffer from diminished mental health capabilities, and he is on disability, but he has not tried to access his money since he was last seen. He may have family in northwest Kansas, possibly around Colby. He was last seen at the Gospel Mission in Salina. He left there and has not been seen or heard from since. He does not have a phone, a vehicle, or any identification. At the time of his disappearance, again, he was 69. He's now 74. He's 5'9", 175 pounds, gray hair and blue eyes. If you have any information regarding Kenny's disappearance, his whereabouts, please call the Salina, Kansas Police Department at 785-826-7210 or Crime Stoppers at 785-825-8477. Or you can text SA Tips to Crimes 274-637 or visit www.pd.salina.org and follow the Crime Stoppers link to submit your tip that way. Or you can call KBI at 785-296-4017 and see if we can help get Kenny located and back to where he needs to be. And so, like I said, a lot of people ask me all the time, anything new? Nothing yet.
Well, we've talked about it a billion times too, but that says he has not tried to access his funds. Like I want to know, because I don't know exactly how it works, but I feel like if he has diminished mental health capabilities, I'm assuming his funds are given to a third party and then they are trusted to give the funds. So does this mean that the funds are just piling up and Kenny hasn't asked for any money, or have the funds stopped? To me, again, it doesn't matter. I'm kind of curious. Are they still just sending a check for a guy that we've been telling people for 4 years that nobody's seen, Right.
Yeah, that's good. Those are good questions. I don't know. It'd be interesting to find out if there's a way to find out.
Yeah.
Justice for Cynthia Gonzalez saying, thank you guys for dedicating our Flyer Weekly on the podcast. Much appreciated by the family and Detective Stafford. You're very welcome.
Yeah, I don't know who you would talk to. You'd have to go to whoever his payees are, whoever.
Right.
My understanding, one of his payees has since passed. So,
well, you think about it. I don't know how it works, but you would think maybe his payees would be maybe older than him. Not always, but you would think that that's a definite possibility. So he would be 74 now. So, if they were any older than him at all, that would be okay. Roxanne Fisher says, did you see where U.S. Marshals busted a trafficking ring in Arizona, finding 200 missing children?
No, I did not.
Oh, wow.
We'll have to research that one.
That's a lot of kids.
Yeah, it is. I wonder if any of them are Kansas kids by chance.
It says this came out July 1st, 2 days ago. U.S. Marshals rescued 200 missing children over 6 weeks in Operation We Will Find You 2, focused on cities such as Miami and Phoenix. Wow. 200 missing kids in both of those cities.
Unreal.
The kids these days don't realize how scary it is out there,
No idea.
You can just be walking down the street and next thing you know, you're off in some country and
yeah,
and they think us adults are just filling their heads full of crap, and we're not. We're trying to protect them.
Right.
Hopefully, and then you hear something like this and it's like, oh wow, okay.
Yeah. Hopefully in addition to rescuing those 200 kids, they cuffed and stuffed a lot of people.
Right. I don't know. It's just sickening to me to think that, there's people out there that have no empathy and no sympathy, no conscience that
Mhm.
could do this to another human being. Derek just handed me this, and the current Kansas missing, there's 260 kids and 425 adults, and that's just Kansas.
I want to look up last week's show because I don't remember. I feel like the adults has gone up a lot. I think wasn't that in the threes last week, or maybe I'm wrong.
No, I don't. I think the adults was there, but the kids, I think the kids has either went up or down. I don't remember, but that don't sound like the
Yeah.
right number.
I'm gonna starting tonight. I'm gonna keep track every week, and we can kind of
Okay.
judge it because to me that just looks. I write these down every couple weeks. That doesn't look. That looks different for sure.
Yeah.
And Judy Dunn, she's saying, yes, people won't come forward with information because of fear for their life. It's taken me 17 years to find out the name of the second shooter in my son's murder. Someone accidentally talked about it in front of my family, not realizing it was family. Being it was a gang member, no one will testify, so there will be nothing done.
That
Wow.
is so sad, but it happens a lot.
I don't know. I think it's a slippery slope. Like, I very, very, very much think our law. I do respect our law, and I think it's great. But at the end of the day, the law is only good as the integrity of the person we put in there to enforce it. And sadly, sometimes people who aren't the greatest person for the job get in there and stuff. Stuff can seep through. But I do think that the older I get, I do think that the police are like exactly with Alexander Perez's with an arrest being made that deep into the game, like. I was kind of starting to give up hope. You know what I mean? I was like, I don't think anything because we didn't hear anything for how long, Ricky?
God, for a while.
Like I'm thinking 3 years at least.
Yeah.
And then finally there's an arrest. So like to me, that is enough of a reason to tell any family member that tells me they want to give up. I'm like, you shouldn't, because I promise you somebody, I don't know if it's a teen, somebody is trying to figure that out,
Right. And Dawn's saying, I'm just having this conversation with my granddaughter, and Justice for Cynthia Renee says, did they find the children alive? I'm assuming so. And she watched the Cleveland abduction the other day. That story is so sad, but my God, they escaped. They must be talking about Amanda Berry and, oh my goodness.
The girl that got out and then ran and told the guy.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Makes you wonder how many people right now are being held captive. Like those girls are just chained to a radiator for 30 years. Like, it's gotta there's gotta be people out there. That's wild.
Judy's saying, I know the higher court, God will take care of it for me. You're darn right he will.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Catherine Adam.
All right. She's missing from here in Salina, Kansas. And you can actually call this a missing person / unsolved homicide because I know they reclassified it as a homicide based on evidence, which I'll get into here in a minute. She's missing from Salina, Kansas since April 29th, 1993. She was 35 when she went missing. She's now 66, 5'4", 120 pounds, brown hair, brown eyes. She was last seen at 4:30 a.m. on April 29th, 1993 at the Quick Shop convenience store in the 1700 block of West Crawford in Salina. She drove a white full-size Ford van with "She Has Legs" written on the sides in blue lettering. Actually, it's blue with white lettering. Well, white and blue lettering. Her van turned up abandoned at 5:45 p.m. the day after her disappearance at Russell's Restaurant in the 600 block of West Point Boulevard. The restaurant was closed for remodeling at that time. The van was spattered with mud on the outside and blood-soaked on the inside. A large amount of blood was also found at a storage unit in West Salina where Catherine, saleswoman for the Legs Pantyhose Company, picked up stock each day. There was no sign of her at either place, and she's never been heard from again. Police speculate someone attacked Catherine when she went inside the storage unit. It appeared that they had interrupted her in the process of loading the merchandise in her van, leaving the door of the unit open. Catherine was separated from her husband at the time and her disappearance and had a teenage daughter. Her case remains unsolved and foul play is suspected. If you have any information regarding Catherine Adams' disappearance or you know of her whereabouts, please call the Salina, Kansas Police Department at 785-826-7210 or Crime Stoppers at 785-825-8477 or text SA Tips to Crimes, which is 274-637, or go to the pd.salina.org and follow the Crime Stoppers link to submit a tip, or call the KBI at 785-296-4017. and see if we can help get her located and, be able to give her back to her family at least.
Absolutely.
They were saying based on the blood evidence in the van, based on the blood evidence at the storage unit, they've reclassified it as a homicide, saying that she wouldn't have been able to survive that much blood loss. So,
Wow.
yeah.
You gotta be vigilant about things, especially at night, in bigger cities, even small towns.
Yeah.
But, how, I don't remember for sure. Okay, from Crawford to Boulevard, how many blocks is that? I mean,
From
It's-
where?
well, where she was last seen and then where the van was found.
You can
It's not
basically
that.
see Russell's from Quick Shop.
That's what I was thinking. That's what I
Yeah.
was thinking. It was real close.
Yeah.
And then the storage shed, how far was that from where she was? All that took
That's
place.
probably a good mile or so south
Mile.
of Quick Shop down Centennial.
Okay. Yeah.
So,
I was trying to familiar myself with the area, because I used
Yeah.
to live there, and I was thinking that Russell's wasn't very far away
Right.
from the Quick Trip. So,
when she went missing from that Quick Shop, it was a lot smaller than it is now because they closed it for a little bit and leveled the old building, completely rebuilt it as a bigger, larger building, and a
right.
lot more gas pumps. And used to be you could only go in and out from the Crawford side, and I think it's Willow on that side street on the east. But now they have it set up to where you can actually exit on the west out onto Centennial now too. So
Oh, wow.
it's a lot bigger than it used to be.
Yeah. That's the bad thing about, crimes and stuff happening like in the 80s and 90s. Things change so much. And, sometimes things get lost in the removal of dirt and buildings, and it's just crazy.
Yeah, it is. And
I always think it's ominous too that like that picture on the top left is the last picture, and if she did perish at that storage unit, she essentially perished like, I don't know, 15, 20 minutes after this picture was taken, by a security
Yeah.
camera.
Yep. And Queenie Albini's asking, who's the lady announcing? That would be Hope.
Hope Chance from a 7 Day Circle podcast. Check them out.
There you go. Thank you.
Yeah.
I couldn't remember the rest of it. Bad me.
We'll get
I'm so
there.
nervous. I can't think right now.
You shouldn't be nervous. I promise. It's everybody that's watching. I promise they're friends. These people are rad. They come here every week, and they're really cool. All of them are cool. The only issue, Ricky's milk addiction has scared off a few people, but other than that, like things are okay. Hunter Gonzalez, tell us about this 16 years old Lawrence.
Yeah, he's a repeater. I've done a couple of flyers for him, but he's missing from Wichita since June 26th of this year. He is 16. He's 5'9", 130 to 180 pounds, brown hair, blue eyes. If you have any information regarding Hunter's disappearance, you know of his whereabouts, please call the Wichita, Kansas Police Department at 316-660-9254 or 316-660-9456 or 316-263-6011 or the KBI at 785-296-4017 and see if we can't get Hunter located and back to where he needs to be.
I don't know if it matters or if it doesn't matter. Is there any way to find out, like, on some of these repeaters, if they are like in some kind of group home situation, like not even really foster care, but more of like a group home setting? Because like I have multiple friends that lived in group homes, and like even if you're trying to living with like we talked last week, living with strangers is rough, but living with multiple kids your age it could be rough. Like, is there any way to find out, like, I guess to try to figure out why somebody would repeatedly take off? You know what I mean?
I don't know if there are or not. I'm not sure there's a way to find out or not. It's a good question. No, it's a good question. Let's see. Justice for Cynthia Renee says you did some online research over the weekend. There are not very many online Facebook pages or online anywhere where sites are fully dedicated to unsolved cold cases. They combine them with the missing, which is wonderful that we have them, but I feel there should be more. The numbers of cold cases by state is state to state is crazy, not to mention worldwide. I'm looking into getting a podcast kit for that sole purpose. Cool.
Wow.
And Queenie's saying, I lived in Salina for 35 years. Just wonder if I knew you. I moved in 2020. I've lived in Salina 57 years. So born, raised here, never left.
I lived there
Kelsey, hey Kelsey, how you doing? Says hello, people.
2012.
Casey Aguilar, I think a lot of teens are
so-
just lost spiritually, or they don't have a solid family unit at home. I hope all these kiddos are found and returned safe. I agree with that one, Casey. Yeah, I agree with that. I think that factors into it too.
We have fireworks going like crazy, and we're out in the country, and they can still hear them. But our dogs are going nuts, man.
We're in the country, but we're not in the country.
We're not far enough in the country. Haley Davis, Salina, Kansas.
Yeah. She's been missing from Salina, Kansas here in Salina since July 21st, 2023. So we're getting close to the 1 year anniversary here. She was 19 when she was missing. She's now 20. She's 5'6" to 5'7", 190 to 200 pounds. Her hair was last known to be dyed bleach blonde and blue eyes. She left Salina with a male acquaintance to go to Wichita. Her last activity on social media, and she was last heard from on July 21st. And at the time of her disappearance, Haley was 19. She's now 20. She's 5'6" to 5'7", weighs between 190 and 200 pounds. Her hair was last known to be dyed bleach blonde, and she does have blue eyes. If you have any information regarding Haley's disappearance, you know her whereabouts, please call the Salina, Kansas Police Department at 785-826-7210, or call Crime Stoppers at 785-825-8477, or text SA Tips to Crimes, which is 274637, or visit www.pd.salina.org and follow the Crime Stoppers link to submit a tip. Or you can call the Wichita, Kansas Police Department at 316-268-4181, or 316-268-4407, or 316-263-6011, or KBI at 785-296-4017. They just added all the Wichita contact information as well on our flyer. And to revisit what I was saying earlier, they are still doing the remembrance vigil for Haley on July 20th, 8 o'clock, Sunset Park here in Salina. So if you want to attend it, there's a link on Kansas Missing and my personal Facebook to where you can click on it and let them know you're attending, so they can plan on you being there if you want to come. I am going to be there, planning on it. So hopefully you see a lot of people there.
Yep. It's Rodney Cox has made a wonderful he's figured out he can put the show on the big screen TV.
Cool.
I'm gonna have to start wearing makeup, maybe.
He's like, I can see everything, guys. I can see all your pores. Casey says, I think there's a number of reasons, repeat runaways. I know growing up I just didn't fit in. Yeah. I have two teens. They struggle with being bullied and not fitting in. I don't think they'd ever run away, but I'm just saying these teens deal with more than we know.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And Queenie's asking are you asking if I knew Haley or Haley? No, I didn't know her personally, but I have been making and posting and updating and resharing her flyers since she went missing almost a year ago, trying to do what I can do to help the family get answers to find out what happened to her and where she may be.
Alexandria, right?
Yep.
I'm pretty good at reading names. I've learned on this show.
I do have a little information now that I haven't had a chance to put on the flyer yet, but she's missing from here in Salina, Kansas since June 24th, 2024. She's 16. She's 5'7", 153 pounds. Dark brown hair that was last known to be dyed black and blue eyes. She goes by Akari. She does have anxiety and depression issues that she does struggle with. Information that I just got a hold of the other day was I believe she's either in Wichita or in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. So she's maybe in one of those two places. Sounds more like maybe Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. Again, she's 16. She's 5'7", weighs 153 pounds. She has dark brown hair that was last known to be dyed black and blue eyes. She does have her nose pierced on both sides. She has a tattoo of a rose behind her ear, a tattoo of a butterfly on the back of her right thigh, a tattoo of a single line flower bouquet on the back of her calf, and a tattoo of H+M on her inner ankle. If you have any information regarding Alexandria's disappearance, you know her whereabouts, please call the Salina, Kansas Police Department at 785-826-7210 or the KBI at 785-296-4017 and see if we can't get her located and back home to where she needs to be.
Absolutely.
That's terrifying. 16 and possibly in Oklahoma City. Like just I went to Oklahoma City and I was safe. Everybody knew where I was, and I was terrified at 18 just because of how big it was.
I think the last time I went through Oklahoma City was maybe a year ago, and I was like, "Get me out of here,"
Yeah.
you know. And I'm 47, so
It's a lot. It's a big city.
is.
There's a lot of places, and then we've talked about it a bunch of times. But like, if there are adults who are letting a 16-year-old stay there without calling the police, like I'm starting to wonder if is that a good adult? Like you're harboring a minor, which is like very, very, very illegal.
Exactly. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know what the punishment for it is, but I mean, I know aiding and abetting a felon
Mm-hmm.
is a pretty big charge. I can only imagine trying to keep a kid or keeping a kid away from
Yeah.
their parents or whatever.
And Candy Lynn says she has a 2-year-old son waiting at home for her. So Alexandria does have a young son.
Oh, wow.
This just says unlawful harboring of a minor is punishable as a gross misdemeanor. Any person who provides shelter to a child absent from home may notify the department's local community service office of the child's presence. Unlawfully harboring a minor is punishable as a. So it is not really saying it, but it is punishable. The word punishable is there. Don't do it.
Right.
They use the word punishable. I don't know what the rest of it means, but it does look like it is. I've always known it was illegal, but I mean, if you're watching this and you have an underage person, and even if you think you're doing the right thing, you're not.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? This
Right.
is illegal. If this goes sideways, this will be used. Even if you're trying to do the right thing, you're not, and it's illegal. And you should. And I'm not saying to throw a runaway on the street either.
Absolutely.
Harbor them until the cops get there. Maybe like call somebody that can come help. I don't know. To me, if my kid ever ran away and I found him living with somebody, an adult, they would have a long battle ahead of them convincing me that it was a good idea to keep me from my kids and to hide my kids. Basically.
Exactly.
And Candy
No,
Lynn's saying there have been adults helping my daughter, Alexandria, and no one's doing anything. And Casey says, I think a lot of teen girls get lured in by dudes on the internet, sadly. Yeah, that does happen. And Justice for Cynthia Gonzalez says it's withholding evidence, I would think. Possibly. Stranger danger. Yep. That too. And Queenie says, I have a friend in Salina whose son keeps running away. He's 16, but he runs to a friend's house and the parents actually don't tell. It's infuriating. Oh, geez. That's not good.
I've got teenagers. I got 4 of them. And
Wow.
just as a parent, if I found out somebody was letting my kids stay there and they weren't even letting me know that kid was okay, it wouldn't be nice. I wouldn't be nice.
No, and I don't think you should ever assume the worst of people, but I would
Right.
immediately assume the worst of these. I would need to have hard facts that you didn't do something weird.
Right.
Like I'm not going to wait for my
Absolutely.
kid to tell me. I'm going to assume something weird happened because you chose to hide a minor from the world when there's
Exactly.
missing posters out. That's weird.
Right.
Especially if you know that they've ran away or whatever the circumstances may be. Contact legal
Yeah,
people,
somebody
the
call.
cops.
Yeah,
Get yourself a lawyer and go that way. Get that
Right.
kid a lawyer if it's something where it's
yeah. If
harmful to
you
the
feel like you're
kid.
protecting them, but yeah,
Exactly.
it's just hiding them is not the way to do it.
Right.
Is there any updates on Gina, or I was thinking we could just cover the new ones and kind of get out of here because we're still getting a lot of fireworks, and I just don't want to. Is there any updates on Gina though?
There isn't anything new, unfortunately.
Okay.
It's
We
been
will
pretty
cover her for sure next week. We won't have
quiet.
fireworks going on, but this one looks like a new one to me. Addison Addie Marie Ledbetter. What's going on here?
Okay. She is missing from Wichita, Kansas since June 27, 2024. She's 16. She's 5'2" to 5'4", weighs 105 to 115 pounds. His brown hair that was last known to be dyed pink, which the most recent picture I just got a hold of was the 1 second from the left there, where she's got her tongue stuck out, and brown eyes. She does have several nose piercings and a belly button piercing. She also has a mushroom tattoo on her shoulder. If you have any information regarding Addison's disappearance, you know her whereabouts, please call the Wichita, Kansas Police Department at 316-660-9245 or 316-660-9456 or 316-263-6011 or KBI at 785-296-4017 and see if we can get Addie located and back to where she needs to be.
This is like the second or third 16-year-old that has tattoos and stuff, like, which I'm not. I went and got a tattoo 2 weeks ago, and he just was just like making conversation, but he said, like, in the state of Kansas, like, there really is not a limit. As long if your parent says it's okay, you can kind of tattoo any age of kids. So,
Absolutely.
but like, do you feel, because like I think if me and Ricky answer, like, if you see a girl who is underage and she is covered in tattoos, like, do you think that does her any favors for weirdo dudes who are already they were curious how old she was, but now they're kind of like, well, that's good as an ID.
Sometimes, yeah.
I don't think
You
it's a
know,
good
I
idea.
just- I always wanted a tattoo, but of course I didn't get one until I was in my 20s.
Yeah,
And, I mean, if my kids wanted one, it was like, okay, but put it somewhere that's not visible,
right.
that only a select, group of people or whatever, like your friends or something like that, know it's there. Because as a young kid, being out there on the streets, I know when I see them, I'm like, that one's trouble,
Right.
Right.
And it's not always necessarily that. It's them expressing themselves.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's taken as they're troublemakers
Yeah.
or, they've got nobody that cares, blah, 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 the same old stereotypes because we've all been brainwashed. But
yeah. And I think that what you're saying is right. But then what scares me is then you have predators who are looking for people who feel that way.
exactly.
Or people are looking that way. We're like, oh, this girl's wild. So again, nothing wrong with it. Like, whatever. But I'm kind of with Hope. Like, I don't think I would go wild with tattoos. If you're underage, I mean, I don't know. It's just kind of, it's up to parents, I guess. I don't know. I'm not against it. I just feel like it would.
Well, I believe in being able to express yourself.
Yeah.
Piercings, tattoos, whatever it may be. You have to have a heart.
Yeah.
You really do, and there's so many people out there these days that don't have that heart.
Yeah.
I see a kid on the street. I'm one of those that will give you the shirt off my back, help you, whatever.
Yeah.
But I'm also going to tell you, look, you need to contact your parents. You need to contact somebody to let them know that you're okay.
Yeah.
Whether you're mad at your parents or not, they love you.
Yeah.
Whether you think they're being jerks or not, they love you.
Yeah.
The reason why they're being jerks is because they love you.
Yeah.
I mean, I can remember getting mad at my mom and
Yeah.
telling her, I hated her and blah, blah, blah. And,
Yeah.
and she was making me do what I needed to do, not what I wanted to do, what I needed to
Mhm.
do. And I missed that. I grew up 14 to now without a mom.
Yeah.
And I tried to still instill that in my kids, you may be mad at me because I'm not letting you do what you want to do, but I'm doing it for your safety.
Yeah.
And, when these kids become parents,
Mm-hmm.
hopefully they can see where their moms and dads are coming from.
Children, we're just trying to keep you alive. That's it. We just want you to be alive at the end of the day.
Exactly.
Right. And Candle and Wriggle is saying everything you guys say sounds great until you're the parent fighting the system, which I believe you.
Yeah,
And she says these kids are tattooing each other.
they are.
And Queenie's saying I took my daughter on her 16th birthday and had a small one put on her foot, coverable.
Again, like I'm not even against I guess my only thing is I think just like if I see somebody with a tattoo I'm 42, I'll be 42 in February. So to me, I don't know if it's always been like kid. In my house, you were not going to get a tattoo till you're 18 because of my parents. So whenever I see tattoos, I usually my brain just like, even if it's like I'm like, oh, that's like a grown up. So like if you're looking for a missing kid and you see a girl like covered in tattoos, I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I think a lot of people would not consider that a kid just based on like you don't see a ton of kids walking around with tattoos. Nothing against tattoos, but I just think it kind of it unkids you a little bit. Again, not like really, but just your physical appearance. Like people see you and they're like, oh, that person has a tattoo. You know, not a lot of parents would. But like I think I would. My kid's 16 is fine. You know, but you know,
Right.
but yeah. Go ahead, Rick.
Okay, and this one is Malaysia Smith, and she is missing from Wichita, Kansas since June 27, 2024. She's 17. She's 5'4" to 5'8", weighs between 165 and 170 pounds. She has black hair and brown eyes. If you have any information regarding Malaysia's disappearance, you know her whereabouts, please call the Wichita, Kansas Police Department at 316-660-9456 or 316-660-9452. Or KBI, or excuse me, 316-263-6011 or the KBI at 785-296-4017 and see if we can't get Malaysia located and back to where she needs to be. And I did do a prior flyer for Malaysia, but she was found when missing again, and I was able to actually obtain that center photo and use that one too, which I like it a lot better. It looks like a driver's license or an ID photo.
Looks like it might be newer too.
Canlin said I had the same rule: no tats till 18. My daughter would go to her girlfriend's house and come home with a tattoo.
Yeah, that's completely different. Like it's kind of hard to police like your friend, your kid's friends. It just kind of surprised me that like in some states and in Kansas when we're doing the show out of like literally, I mean, again, like the tattoo artist I go to, he said if a parent signed it, he could tattoo a baby. He's like, obviously, I'm not going to tattoo any kids. He's like, but
Right.
I would not get in trouble if I had the signature. And again, I'm not even saying tattoos are bad. I just think that I'm from a generation. I'm old enough to think that tattoos are something that you only get to do once you're old enough to die for your country. You know what I mean? Like that's when you can make that decision.
Right.
But it's not 1996.
Well, you know, the bad thing about it these days is you can order a tattoo gun, the ink, the needles, all that stuff off Wish or Temu or however you say it. You know, you can get it on the internet and there's no age restriction.
Nope. As long as your card
know?
goes through, they'll ship it to you.
Exactly. You know, I mean, my first tattoo was done with a homemade gun. You know,
Mine too.
guitar string and motor from a CD player, blah, blah, blah. And I was at home when but I was, like I said, I was in my 20s. I was 25 when I got my first tattoo.
Similar story, but I was 18. But yeah, very. I guess it would have been better if I would have went to a place and I would have had it. At least it would have been, you know.
I can tell you a
Clean.
professional one hurts less than
Oh
a
yeah,
homemade one does.
yeah.
I don't.
This
have
looks
any
like a-
tattoos, so
Ricky's never. We'll get you. Would you get a KMU tattoo?
I don't know. Maybe.
Oh
What
no.
I thought about getting was a cross done on my arm that says "Loyal to one, God's only Son." You know what I thought about?
Well, I mean, I know a guy. I'll bring him. We can get you a tattoo, but I'll take that. Maybe I'll run with it. He said maybe.
He said
he'd-
maybe.
Rodney Cox says, "I miss the days when only sailors had tattoos."
So what's going on with this flyer?
This one I was tagged in and reached out on and made a flyer for. It's an interesting one. Let's see, where are you at here? I know I pulled it. Oh, there it is. This is Gabriela Garcia Lemus and her son Andres Guerrero and her daughter Aurora Guerrero. They're missing from Grand Rapids, Michigan since October 11th, 2022. Gabriella was 33 when she was missing. She's now 34. She's 5'4", 180 pounds, brown hair, brown eyes. Andres was 7 when he went missing. Or no, he's now 7. He was 6 when he went missing. He's 4 foot tall, 80 pounds, brown hair, brown eyes. And Aurora was 9 when she went missing. She's now 11. She's 4'5" and weighs 100 pounds, has brown hair and brown eyes. They were last seen October 11th, 2022 after Gabriella went to marry Jesus Antonio Lemus Ozuna, whose picture's down there at the bottom there. In August of 2022, they were all last known to be with Jesus. Gabriella was last heard from by a family via phone call in April of 2024 asking for help. Long after this call, the family dog was found in the St. Francis, Kansas area up in northwest Kansas. The dog's now back with family, but they're still trying to find Gabriella, Andres, and Aurora. If you have any information regarding Gabriella, Andres, or Aurora's disappearance, you know of their whereabouts, please call the Topeka, Kansas Police Department at 785-368-9200. There is a report file with Topeka, Kansas Police Department. Or you can call KBI at 785-296-4017, or you can call the Detroit, Michigan office of the FBI at 313-965-2323 and see if we can get them located and make sure they're all safe and okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
They were last
Queenie's saying I want a stick tattoo of Lawnmower Man under my belly button. Yeah. Smiley's face was in reference to the tattoo coming to the lawnmower. Okay.
Oh.
No, let's just hope Gabriella and Andres and Aurora are all doing okay. That was interesting. Unless seen October 11th, and then they get a phone call in April 2024 asking for help, and then they find the family dog not long after in St. Francis, Kansas.
That's weird, man.
It's crazy. Yeah, I looked at it.
Elizabeth
It was way
Beard,
over
14.
Colorado. This is Elizabeth Baird. It was Beard or Baird. I say Baird, but I don't know if I'm right or wrong. She's missing from Wichita, Kansas since July 1st of this year. She's 14, 5'6", 120 pounds, brown hair, was not able to get an eye color. If you have any information regarding Elizabeth's disappearance, you know her whereabouts, please call the Wichita, Kansas Police Department at 316-660-9456 or 316-660-9254 or 316-263-6011 or the KBI at 785-296-4017 and see if we can get Elizabeth located and back to where she needs to be.
So it's only been 2 days. So hopefully she goes home soon, or she goes, you know.
Candlin says I watch crime shows all the time. You'd be surprised how many serial killers originated from Kansas. Yeah, several have. You're right.
Yeah.
And I hope I say his last name right. I just made his flyer yesterday.
Renard, I would say. I don't
Blake
know,
A. And it says Renouard. I'm going to say it's Renouard. I'm not sure. Missing from Kansas City, Missouri since June 27, 2024. He's 34, 6'1", 195 pounds, brown hair and blue eyes. He left from the Haven Apartments located at 10,500 Hillcrest Road in Kansas City around 8 o'clock in the morning. He did take his dog, Luca, which you can see Luca picture down there at the bottom, with him when he did leave. It's believed that Luca is still with him unless he was picked up and taken to a shelter. Blake's cell phone is believed to have pinged off a tower near Rolla, Missouri. There is no way to verify whether he's still with his phone, and it is still not ringing when it is called. Apparently it's going straight to voicemail from the sounds of it. And he's 34, he's 6'1", weighs 195 pounds, has brown hair and blue eyes. And if you have any information regarding Blake's disappearance, you know his whereabouts, please call the Kansas City, Missouri Police Department at 816-234-5043 or 816-234-5111. or Missouri State Highway Patrol at 573-526-6178 or 866-362-6422 and see if we can't get Blake located and back to where he needs to be.
I didn't know there was a Rolla, Missouri. There's a Rolla, Kansas, like right, we're like, what,
Yeah.
13, 14 miles from Rolla?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's a little spot in the road.
Yeah. Wow, I didn't know Rolla. Well, that's kind of, that's, you know, you see a teen go missing, you automatically go, okay, well, maybe they got in an argument with their, you know, whoever they're living with. Maybe they're taking a walk for a while. But anytime I see like a 34-year-old person with like stuff to do, like you know, like obligations go missing for, and this is what, 5 days now, basically.
Yeah.
if not more. That's always really scary to me. I don't see
It
how
is.
34-year-old people can afford to take 5-day vacations without telling anybody. you
Right.
know? Like
Yeah.
at least one person.
And usually if they're an older, like in the 30s or 40s, they've got kids or they've
Yeah.
got, they've got jobs, whatever. They know there's going to be people missing them.
Yeah. Wow.
Mhm.
Well,
I just hope that he's found and his dog's found. And,
yeah.
if his dog
Yeah.
is in a pound, hopefully somebody recognizes him,
Yeah.
calls in and says, hey, we
Yeah.
found the dog or whatever.
Yeah. I'm not sure what kind of dog Luca is, but it's kind of a neat looking dog.
It's cute.
Got a big tail, looks like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One more case, and Ricky will say a prayer. We'll wish everybody a happy 4th of July before we get out of here for the long weekend for everybody. And we want to thank everybody for watching live and then watching later on throughout the week. Check out the Facebook page, Kansas Missing and Unsolved. Follow it, share it to your friends. Check out Hope's podcast, 7-Day Circle with Hope and May on Apple and Spotify. Ricky, go ahead and tell them about Alex Michael LaRusso.
Yeah, I wanted to get him back on the show. It's been a while since we talked about him, but missing from here in Salina, Kansas since December 8th, 2017. He was 25 when he went missing. He's now 31, 6'2", 175 pounds, black hair and brown eyes. Last contact Alex had with his family was at 4 o'clock in the morning on December 8th. He is wheelchair bound and as his left leg is amputated above the knee. The vehicle he was driving was found on a farm in New Cambria, Kansas, northeast Saline County, Kansas. His cell phone, clothing, wheelchair were found in the vehicle, among other items. Again, at the time of his disappearance, Alex was 25. He'd now be 31. He's 6'2" and weighs 175 pounds. Has black hair and brown eyes. He has a tattoo on the left side of his neck that says pain. A tattoo of 13 on the right side of his chest and a star on the left side of his chest, which you can see the chest tattoos right there. And you can kind of see the pain a little bit on two of the pictures up there. The one on the far left and the one next to the chest tattoos. You can kind of see the P in there. But, I couldn't find a better one of that one yet. And if you have any information regarding Alex's disappearance, you know his whereabouts, please call the Salina, Kansas Police Department at 785-826-7210 or 785. You can call KBI at 785-296-4017 or 1-800-572-7463. Or you can call Crime Stoppers here in Salina anonymously, 785-825-8477, and see if we can't get Alex located and back to where he needs to be.
What do you make of that, Hope? As the guy's wheelchair bound and they find his car abandoned with like his wheelchair, his wallet, his phone. And you I get like, if he could walk, but like the guy can't be leaving the wheelchair.
Right.
What does that mean?
I don't know what it means. I know what I would think.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like he would have to have help.
He would have to have help. Yeah, he's not, because he can't just walk away from it.
Exactly. Like it.
I mean, it's fishy.
Ricky,
Right.
you always say that you can only post what's given to you, but sometimes, just what's given to you just creates so many questions in my brain.
Oh, right.
I'm just like, how does he get away? How does he leave his wheelchair and go anywhere? And it sounds like it was like on a farm. It wasn't like, it doesn't sound like it was like at like a shopping mall where it's just like out on a farm. Like, where do you go? It's wild,
It's found on a farm in New Cambria, which is out in northeast Saline County here, with a phone, clothing, wheelchair, among other items.
Yeah. You leave all your stuff in the car. That's weird,
I don't know. Of course,
I could see leaving all except for your wheelchair, though. You'd have to have the wheelchair
Yeah.
to do it.
Of course, the rumor mill's always at work here in town, so.
Yeah.
They work everywhere when something
Oh,
goes
yeah.
down.
Yeah.
So, but
Well,
what they
Rick-
say, there's always little morsels of truth in the rumor. You just got to figure out what that little morsel of truth is.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, that's what they say anyway.
Yeah.
Well, Rick, we'll go ahead and have you pray and get us out of here. And we want to wish everybody a happy 4th of July. We'll be back next Wednesday,
It's
whatever
quieter
day that
outside.
is.
Well,
Wednesday the 10th is when we'll be back 9:30 again, or did you want to do 9? Would you just 9:30 is working for?
I'm actually off next Wednesday, so we can try to back it up to like if you want to do like 8:30.
Okay, we will talk. We will.
Try
Ricky will
that.
make a post on the page and let you
Okay.
all know what we'll do. But Ricky will get us out of here. Thanks everybody for tuning in, and yeah, this is an awesome show.
All right. Well, Heavenly Father, thank you for bringing us together tonight to cover these missing persons and unsolved homicide cases. And just pray that, somebody out there that has the key to, bring somebody home or solve a case will do the right thing and get that information in so they can be found, or, some justice can be served. And as always, we want to thank you for letting us get together so we can do this. And, till we see each other again next week, everybody stay safe, stay healthy. God bless, and amen.
Amen.